Alright, today we will show you how to prepare a 1% agarose gel used in gel electrophoresis. So what we need here is agarose, ETBR, and TAE buffer. So agarose is a gel powder which creates little tunnels in a gel through which DNA can travel through, and how fast it travels through depends on the size of the DNA. And we use ETBR as a staining solution, so essentially it binds to DNA, and under UV light it fluoresces. So to begin preparation, what we can do is we can measure out 0.5 grams of agarose. We are making 50 milliliters of this gel, so 0.5 is the 1%. Alright, now you can put the powder in one of these. Next, you want to measure out 50 milliliters of TAE buffer. And we'll just pour that right into the same container. Alright, now we add the ETBR. And ETBR is, since it binds to DNA, it acts as a chemical mutagen, and therefore you don't really want to touch it with your hands. So always wear gloves when working with ETBR. You simply need 1 drop. Simply mix it a bit. So now we have our completed solution of agarose, and we simply want to microwave for 1.5 minutes. Now for greater amounts of solution, you would want to microwave it for longer, but for 50 milliliters, 1.5 minutes should be enough.
Okay, after it's done, you take out the boiling agarose, make sure to wear a glove because it's hot, and then you pour it out into the loading tray. Next, you want to take the bottle while the agarose in here is still liquid and wash it out. So next, we want to make sure that the gel has no air bubbles, and to solve this, we have to use this pipette tip and poke out the air bubbles. For us, it doesn't look like we have any, so we don't need to do this. Next, you want to wait about 20 to 25 minutes for the gel to solidify, and then you can start loading your dye and DNA. After waiting for the gel to solidify, you turn this 90 degrees, and then you take out the comb to reveal the wells.
Okay, so now we have to load our samples into our gel. So to do that, we're going to use our gel loading die, and we're going to put that into each of our sample tubes. There are 10 microliters of each sample in each tube, So we're gonna use 2 microliters of the 6x loading dye for each tube. So we're gonna use our pipette, dial it to 2 microliters, and pipette this out, as so. And to do that for the rest of the dyes. Okay, so now that we are done preparing our samples, we want to fill our container with this TAE buffer. So what this does is it acts as an electrolyte for the voltage to pass through, and it also acts as a stable environment for the DNA. So we want to fill this up to the fill line right here. If you go over that, then it takes too long for the DNA to actually pass through our agarose gel. So now that our gel electrophoresis container is prepped, we want to load all our samples and our DNA ladder. So we're gonna load 6 microliters of each. So this is our DNA ladder. We're gonna load 6 microliters of our ladder into that first well right there. And if you're doing this, you want a very steady hand. You want to make sure that you get all of your sample into the well, and you don't want any of it to leak out. So. Like that. And you do that for the rest of the samples too. Okay, so now that we have our ladder into the well, we want to load all the rest of our samples into their corresponding wells. And 6 microliters of each sample. Okay, so now that we've loaded all of our samples, we'll want to place this cover on the top. So while you're putting the cover on, you want to make sure that the negative electrode is on this side. It's on the side of the DNA wells, because this will make sure that since DNA is negatively charged, it'll travel to this side of the gel. So now that we're done with that, you'll want to hook this up to the machine, like so. And a higher voltage will mean that the DNA travels faster.
Alright, so now we have run this gel for about 30 minutes, and now we can just turn this off and quickly slide the lid off, and now we can get into the gel like so. And then you want to be careful with the gel, because you don't want the gel itself to break, because it has the ladder and the DNA that we want. And now we just bring it over, transfer it over to this container here, and then we just slide this off gently. Okay, so now we bring our gel over here to this machine, where we can then see the DNA under a UV light, and you'll be able to see something on the screen. So what we're going to do is carefully transfer the gel out of the container here into this chamber. Alright, there we go. Carefully place it in there. And then now the door will be closed. And then we're going to turn on the UV light in there. Here's the image generated by the machine that focuses on the well lanes that were used. And it looks like the DNA ladder in the leftmost well and the rest of the DNA samples to the right of the ladder can be seen. So awesome! You have successfully run gel electrophoresis.